everyone seems to think that Bitcoin's volatility is a big problem. But what if it's actually the number one biggest opportunity of your lifetime? Most people completely misunderstand it, and I'm going to reveal to you exactly why volatility isn't the real risk and how holding through wild swings can protect you from permanent loss, and why Bitcoin's upside potential is potentially life-changing for you. I'm John S. Rhodes of the Rhodes Brothers. This is Greater Wealth Through Mastery. And after years of studying Bitcoin and Bitcoin's price patterns, I'm going to be showing you how to turn volatility into your best friend, your greatest advantage. Stay until the end to learn a very, very simple strategy to ride Bitcoin's explosive growth. Trust me, it's very, very simple. Now, people think that volatility is risk. In other words, they are equivalent. Prices go up and down, whether it's the stock market or it's Bitcoin. Prices go up, prices go down, prices go up, prices go down. But listen, volatility is not risk in and of itself. I'm going to explain that in a moment. If you think about it, upside volatility over and over and over. Upside volatility means prices are going up and up and up by huge amounts. And most people do not focus on the upside explosive growth of Bitcoin in terms of a risk. In fact, it seems to be a pretty big benefit when the price skyrockets. It's only when the price falls, when Bitcoin goes down, 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 and the price just collapses that people freak out. And that's when they say, oh, volatility is terrible. But if you think about it, if you have enough ups, then the downs don't hurt so much. There's more to the story here. Let's continue. All right. So the real risk is not volatility, but it's losing money forever. Let me ask you a question. If you had $100 and that $100 suddenly became $200, that's pretty wild, right? Well, that's upside volatility. What if you turn that $100 into $200 and you sold out? In other words, it was like a stock or something that you bought for $100 and it went to $200. That means you doubled your money. And if you sold out, that means you captured the gain. You went from 100 to 200. Now you have more money. That is upside volatility. That is not the risk. The real risk is that it goes from 100 down to 50. And if it collapses in price and then you sell out, that downside volatility, while, yeah, negative, that isn't the risk. That isn't the real problem. The problem is it was high and you sold low. If it was 100 and went to 200, it means it was maybe high and it went higher. That is a good thing. And now we understand upside volatility and downside volatility. So it's not just about the price. It's when you buy and it's when you sell. $50, 100, 200, it's really, get this, all the same. If it's Bitcoin we're talking about and you hold, let's say, one Bitcoin, woohoo! Nowadays, that's pretty darn good. If you have one Bitcoin and the price goes up, the price goes down, price goes up, price goes down, that's in reference to the dollars that that Bitcoin is worth. But one Bitcoin always equals one Bitcoin. So what matters is when you sell. And what matters is when you buy, right? So if you buy low and sell high, fantastic. If you buy high and sell low, not fantastic. In fact, that's pretty crappy. So the risk is locking in a loss. A risk is not locking in a gain, at least not necessarily. So that is why volatility isn't the risk. It's the loss of permanent capital, right? So if you put 100 in and you get 50 back, that's bad. If you put 100 in and you get 200 back, that's good. Right? So you don't want to lock in the $50 if it was 100 when you bought it. And vice versa, if it's 100 and it goes to 200 and you lock it in, that's pretty good because you've locked in some profits. Okay, so moving on. It's the selling during the big dips with Bitcoin where you're facing risk. And this is why so many Bitcoiners are saying you just need to buy and hold no matter what. In fact, there's no 5 year period where you could have bought Bitcoin and then held and lost money. Now, past performance does not tell you anything about future performance. We know that. But if you bought Bitcoin at any point and held it for 5 years up until this point in time, if you held for 5 years or more, you will have made money. That's the key. But what happens over 2 or 3 years? Well, we don't know. The price could go up and up and up and then collapse. We've talked about that. The price could just go down. You freak out. There's blood in the streets. And instead of buying when the prices are low, you might be selling. And if you sell when it's low, you're locking in losses. If you buy and hold and hold and hold and you don't sell, well, nothing happens. And if you buy and hold through the dips and then you just wait long enough, your time horizon, your time preference, right? If it's long enough, then what happens is you will end up on the right side of the trade or the investment or the hold, however you want to think about that. So again, the big dips can only wipe you out and can only hurt you when you sell when it's down and when it's low. And instead of thinking, oh no, the price has collapsed. Oh no, right? Instead, you should be thinking the price is down. Now it's time to buy more. That's not investing advice. It's just a way to have the logic right and your head and the psychology in the right place, right? So one of the things that's really terrible about Bitcoin right now is that when the prices perhaps are skyrocketing and going up, 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 what happens is people, a lot of times they will actually freak out to the upside and they'll sell too soon. And then they'll have the pain of regret. They'll feel regret as a result of selling too soon. But at least you're locking in profits if you do that. The worst pain is the regret of buying and then waiting and waiting, and then there's a dip and then selling. That's the real pain. It's like triple, 5, 10 times the pain of just simply holding and maybe buy and lock in some profit. Or even better, the vast majority of those people who have invested in Bitcoin and done well over time is they are literally just buying and holding and holding and holding with very, very high conviction. Now, obviously, your situation will dictate what it is that you are going to do, what you need to do, what your plan is. Everyone has a different plan, but just kind of keep that in mind, that the risk is the timing of the selling probably more than anything else. Okay, so another thing is that big price jumps bring big gains. So if you wait, a big price spike is likely to happen with Bitcoin. Now, I can't tell you when. It's just likely to happen. Why do I say that? Because it's happened so many other times, and very, very importantly, statistically, in terms of the data, historically, just look at the data, the price action of Bitcoin, and you can see spike after spike after spike, both up and down. Well, use that to your advantage in terms of when you buy and hypothetically when you sell, unless you're going to hodl or hold on, right? You just hold and hold and hold. Okay, lots about that for you to noodle on. Now, here's another thing. Upside volatility is great. It's a risk, however, because it can sort of skew your thinking about what Bitcoin is actually worth, what you are holding Bitcoin for. What happens if you sell at 150,000, 200,000 or some much higher price, and then it keeps going higher? Just keep the psychology in mind and how you would feel if the price just keeps going up. Something to keep in mind for the future and for your family, right? So it's just an important consideration. Now, the secret of all this, I've already given away, but I'm going to put words to it right now. And that is, the secret is buying and holding. Simply buy and hold is the secret. And then all volatility goes away. Now, it doesn't seem that way, but if you buy and you hold, then the price going up or down doesn't change anything for you. Sure, it might change your net worth calculation, but it doesn't change anything with your cash flow. It doesn't change your life. Nothing happens if you just buy and hold and buy more and hold and buy more and hold. So the volatility goes to zero. There are no ups and there are no downs if you just buy and plan on holding for a very long time. Now, that's obviously not what's really happening in the real world, because if you buy for 50,000 and it goes to 100, you know that the value, at least in fiat terms, has gone up, by twice the amount. It's like, whoa, I've gone from 50 to 100 or 100 to 200,000 or higher, whatever it might be. But if you're not thinking that way, that's a beautiful thing, because then you can buy and hold and hold and hold. And then when you really want to tap into the wealth of Bitcoin, you can do that by maybe selling some off, a pinch of it. You might be able to borrow against that Bitcoin as well in the future, a lot easier than you can now. Or in the future, you might be able to stake your Bitcoin, kind of lend it out in a very secure way. I do not recommend that at this point in time. In the future, I might say, hey, it could make sense to sort of securely lend your Bitcoin out and get something like a yield or true interest on Bitcoin. But for right now, the very, very best, smartest thing to do is buy and simply hold. Treat it like anything else that you would buy and hold for a long period of time, whether it be stocks or gold. It might even be houses or fine art, things of that nature. Who knows what it is in your case? And the other little thing to wrap up with here is that I do strongly recommend, if you are thinking about buying and then holding and then selling Bitcoin, that you have a very, very clear Bitcoin selling plan. And the reason I'm saying that is that with the volatility, what'll end up happening is you will feel compelled to sell at the wrong time, because psychology gets in the way, emotions drive the rational thinking. Let me say that another way. We tend to get hot-blooded. We tend to be very reactionary to things. We feel a certain way, and then we act without really thinking things through. But if you have a Bitcoin selling plan, perhaps based on when it reaches certain price points, you can sell down a certain amount of your Bitcoin, or all of it. You can sell down very rationally with a cool head and not worry about a thing. But if you don't have that plan, you don't know what's going to happen in terms of your emotions, how you'll feel and what you'll do. If the price spikes crazy up, or the price spikes crazy or falls in the pit of despair, just drops by 20, 30%, what are you going to do? Right. So you need a Bitcoin selling plan. Fortunately, the Rhodes brothers have put together a video on Bitcoin selling, if that is something that you must do or that you plan on doing, how to put together a plan for yourself. There is a Bitcoin selling plan that we've put together. It is available on the Rhodes brothers channel. Right here, you'll be able to find that. So please go ahead and like this video. More importantly, subscribe to the Rhodes brothers channel. Also down in the description below, you'll find some great information that will be of great use to you, and it's immediately available and immediately useful. Again, this is John S. Rhodes of the Rhodes brothers. We'll see you in the next training, and thank you and take care.